Welcome. My name is Corey. I'm here today with Kathleen Cotter Clayton of RightStart Math, and I'm just delighted to meet with you again, Kathleen. We've chatted before, and it's neat to just hear your heart about these resources and to see how they can fit our families. So my first question for you, thank you for coming, is tell me, thank you. Where did RightStart begin, and why did Dr. Cotter feel this approach needed to be created?
Dr. Cotter is actually an electrical engineer, and she has 3 children. Actually, I'm the oldest. And by the way, I do refer to her as Dr. Cotter because it's just not the same if I say, well, my mom said so. So
it works in homeschool realms. Usually it does.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So 3 children, her youngest, my brother, Andy, was having difficulties in math, and he was in 3rd grade, and he was literally throwing up every day in math class because he was so stressed out. He could not memorize. It was not working well. Both Dr. Cotter and her husband are engineers. So we've got this kid. What's going on with him? Well, they ended up pulling him from that school and putting him in a different school. And part of that school, one of the requirements is that all parents have to donate so many hours to make this school run. Well, she's a math person. He's having difficulties in math. This is pretty easy. She said, what can I do to help him? And she actually started by creating card games to help him learn his facts, so that the card games, instead of being, of course they're fun, but they end up being a practice and a drill, and more importantly, becomes an application for his new knowledge. So if he's working on his multiplication facts, he's using it in the game. Now he cares about what the answer is. And my brother did recover from this event. He now is a computer something specialist and doing very well for himself. And so he recovered just nicely. So your kids can go beyond the struggles that they're having. So that's actually how it started. It started because there was a need. Then she started to tutor other children in that class. Once you kind of got the math facts under control, she started to tutor other children and said, there's still something missing. What could it be? And from there, she developed an abacus. And what an abacus does is it gives the children a visual idea as to what the numbers mean.
Yeah.
Yep. You got one there. And actually, I've got one right here. So it's grouped in 5s and 10s so that you can quickly see. So if I put this on, you don't have to go in there and count it. You can see I've got 5 and 2 more. So she used this and started to teach the children and work with that. She went back to, she's a electrical engineer. She's a Montessori teacher. She went back to school and got a master's degree in curriculum and instruction, taught grades 6, 7, and 8, and said politely, these guys are idiots. Not because they're stupid, but you can't be doing higher level math if you don't have your basics.
Right.
So she went back to school again and got a PhD in mathematics education. And there she focused on the elementary, because you have to have that foundation so that you can build on it.
Amazing.
So that's how it started. And it's just been amazing. And she had done some of the work prior, but boy, once the RightStart program came, it just shot off into outer space.
That's amazing. So tell me a little bit about the history of RightStart, the company. This started in the late 90s, and you started mostly serving.
Well, the company actually,
even though she had,
the company actually started in the 80s. She wrote her first book, the Math Card Games book. She actually wrote that in 1980. So she actually started in the 70s, wrote that in 1980. Then with the abacus, she wrote a book called Activities for the Abacus, which isn't really out there much. You can still purchase it. We still have it. But most people, and that's actually, let me back up a second. The Activities for the Abacus is actually what I use to teach my children. Now, I had the luxury of being able to call my mom up and say, okay, mom, what do I do next? Because
be able to call a PhD math education
specialist. Exactly. But with the Activities book, it's kind of like an encyclopedia. So if you want to know, how do I do this? You go to the table of contents, you turn to page 47, and it'll show you how to do it. But it's not a lesson plan.
Right.
Well, I like lesson plans. So I called my mom up. You all can't do that. So she started when she, with her PhD, then she started with the RightStart Math program. That's in a lesson format. That makes life so easy.
And
I don't have to
as homeschooling moms, yeah, that makes our hearts sing.
Oh,
I
it
need
does.
someone that's going to tell me what to do day by day.
Exactly. And you don't have to lay in bed and go, is it time to do clocks? Yeah, well, no. Let me get back to you. We're going to show you exactly when you put it in there and how to do it, and how to link it, and put it all together. So basically, if you can read, you can do RightStart Math. Because we're going to give you the questions that you ask your child, and then we're going to give you the answers, which is always nice. I mean, it's kind of silly when it's kindergarten work, but not so silly when you've got a grade 5 child and you're not quite sure what the answer is. We'll give you that answer.
Right. So that brings us up to the early 2000s. RightStart Math curriculum, the leveled books, has been available to us for more than 20 years now.
Yes.
And we send this out to families all across the country. And we started sending it, I believe, we're looking for a resource for kids that were struggling.
Yes.
But it has also been a resource that has just been really loved by families that like a hands-on style or a game and activity style of learning.
This program works for the children who are challenged, because we're teaching it the different way than you and I were taught. It's working with the way they work. Weirdly and very coolly, it works phenomenally well with those gifted kids, because those gifted kids get things, but this takes and makes it like they get it. It's it's right there. Then the kids who are average, I mean, not that there is an average kid, but the kids who are not struggling and not gifted, they love this also. It brings them up and it shows them why we're doing, because we don't just say, well, 8 times 3 is 24 because I said so. We say that 8 times 3 is you've got 8 3 times. Oh, that's what that means. Oh, so it gives them the whys. Real quick, let me just show you real quick. If I do 8, move it so you can see it. There we go. If I do 8,
if you want, I can pull out.
Nope, we're good. 8 3 times.
My abacus here too, and show you. Tell me.
So I've got
you're the expert.
Now, I don't really know what the answer is, but you know what? I could do this, and I could say, isn't that the same thing as 4 3 times? Which I know is 12. 12 doubled is 24. And if I'm really not even quite sure what 4 times 3 is, because I just struggle with that. Here, now I have 2 3 times. Well, that's 6. Well, 6 doubled is 12. So now I have 12 doubled to find what 8 times 3 is. So we give the kids different ways to do things.
Very visual and hands-on. Yeah.
Exactly. And we give them different ways to find it out, rather than it just being, well, 8 times 3 is 24 because I said so, and you better memorize that.
That's hard.
Yes, it is.
So many kids that struggle with that.
Yes. A little bit silly, but sadly somewhat true. I say that if we don't kill our kids off in multiplication, we kill them off in fractions. And it's like, that's funny. Well, sadly, it's not, because that is where we're losing our kids. We're losing them in multiplication. And this is the traditional sense. I'm not talking RightStart. If you're taught traditionally, like I was, and you probably were too, Corey, and probably many people listening, if you're taught traditionally, if you maybe you get through multiplication, good for you. I didn't. I struggled with it. And then fractions, gone.
And I've often said that to moms and dads, that fractions are the place where our kids get stuck. And it's the place where we just need to camp out here, because kids don't have the ability to synthesize. Like, fractions is a lot of different math information synthesized together. So when we start saying, like, let's make equivalent fractions and add fractions and multiply fractions and divide fractions, there's a lot of steps involved to be able to do that. And a lot of kids just need to camp out there for a while because they don't have enough of a conceptual idea to start working with something that abstract.
Right. Actually, it's interesting. We even were talking about this because last night, through our local community college, I taught a class on fractions to adults. And it was fascinating to watch them. Some of them were quicker to catch on, and others, one guy said, I know nothing about fractions, and he's 70 years old. One, very cool that he came to the class, but I thought it was very interesting that he had nothing. And it was so cool to watch him see it and learn it. And by the time we're done with this particular 4-hour class, we will be multiplying and dividing fractions, and not just, oh, you invert and multiply. Well, how come? I don't know. I'm going to show them why we invert and multiply so that he can remember, and they all can remember why we do it this way.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what RightStart's all about.
So important to acknowledge too, that many moms and dads feel like they are in that same position. Mm-hmm. I got through all my high school maths. I graduated, or maybe I didn't. There's lots of moms and dads that are homeschooling that do not have a lot of upper level math under their belt. And they're like, this is going to be a mountain I have to climb to teach these children. So we can learn. And I mean, I know, having gone through kindergarten 5 times now and gone through that, I've learned a ton right alongside my kids, right? And we as moms and dads really love to have those materials that facilitate learning, not requiring me to be the bearer of all knowledge, but where I can come alongside my child and help them to do that learning with the right materials. So I don't have to have all the teacherese and technique and so on. I can take what you've given me and know day by day how to do this. We can learn fractions together.
Right.
And lots of moms are at that spot where we need to learn fractions alongside our kids.
And that's one thing we hear a lot with the RightStart program is people will say, oh, my kid's doing great, but I can't believe what I'm learning. Mm-hmm. I know.
My second, third, fourth, and fifth time through kindergarten, phenomenal with the kinds of things I learned. So
I teach our level G and H, which is our middle school. And I think we're on this year. I'm kind of the assistant to the assistant. So I've stepped away a little bit. I think I've taught it I'm guessing maybe 7-8 years. I love it. And every time I do it, I learn more. And I'm good in math, but I still am learning more and more and more. That's what we want the kids to do. And if you as adults learn something too, awesome.
So neat. So neat. Coming back to just the story of RightStart, what has been like, how did you move from being that student of math and the student of your mom, the PhD math teacher, to carrying on this legacy of your mom's work now? What has happened to bring you to this spot?
Well, it's kind of interesting. I originally started with the company. I mean, as her child, you'll find my name in the Math Card Games book because she used to try the games out on us. So I probably really started with the company as about a young teenager.
Yes.
But I had 4 kids in 5 years. So life was a little crazy for a while there. And I actually started doing some of the assembly work when the company was still in Minnesota. And then the company started to grow and grow, and we needed to do something different. And we moved it to my house. And so I was fulfilling orders and, assembling and putting things together. And then I stepped away for about 5 years and came back because the company was at a point that we need something has got to change. And so I said, all right, I'll quit what I'm doing. I'll join the company again. And I've been here ever since. So I've been here, I think we're up on 25 years now that I've been with the company. So basically it was need, and it keeps growing and growing. So I've done everything from assembly, putting together the card decks, all the way up to now I'm the one who is working on the RightStart tutoring series. So I'm the one who is creating that. So now I'm curriculum developing.
Yes.
Which is kind of fun. Yes.
The ones that we were talking about earlier.
Yes.
I can show you on our camera here.
Yep.
Things like this. So then that begs the question, where's Dr. Cotter at now?
Actually, right now she's at home. I just talked to her about an hour ago.
What's she up to? What's keeping her busy?
She is in Minnesota. It's kind of funny when Corey and I were talking off camera here. She said, is she retired? No, she's down to about 35 hours a week now, maybe 30 on a slow week. She just had one of her birthdays, and what she did for her birthday is she did a triathlon. So she did so many minutes of bicycling, minutes of walking, and so many minutes of swimming, all on her birthday. The minutes added up to her birthday year, which
that's amazing. That's amazing.
For my birthday,
I just want to be like her when I grow up. I'm going to add that to my list. Ways that I want to, things I want to do when I grow up. That's so cool.
Yes. So what she's doing now, she just finished writing a book, and we don't quite have the title yet. We're just at the tail end of finishing it. We're in the process of reformatting it for publication. Again, we'll finalize the title. Hopefully it'll be done in the near future. And I'm not talking near like a day. I'm talking, give us a couple months, 6 months, maybe a year, somewhere in there. But it's a book on a better way to teach math. So it's the history, kind of like how elementary math. How do we get to where we are today? So it's got some history in there. It's got some, this program does this. This is good. This is bad. This is how this works. And it's a better way to teach elementary math. And it is amazing. I helped her write it. She's the main writer. I was kind of the on the side writer. And I've read the book. I think I'm up to about 6 times now, just different proofing and stuff. And you'd think after 6 times, you'd be like, oh, yawn. It is still equally fascinating. It's amazing. And even as I go through and I reread it, I'm like, oh, I forgot about that. That was so good. Yeah. She just got such neat things in there.
Neat.
So
and so
that's
this
what
is
working on now.
Okay. So this is a book for the common homeschooling mom, or is this like a peer educator to educator kind of a book?
It's for anybody who's teaching math to children, but not even to children, anybody who's teaching math. So are you a college professor? Are you a educator in the school system? Are you a homeschool mom? Are you somebody who thinks math is like super cool? I want to know more. This book is for you.
Well, I think math's super cool. My background before being in the homeschool realm was teaching and tutoring math, and that's where my education lies as well, with math pedagogy and at university level. But I'm looking forward to seeing that. So I know you're going to let us know when that's available.
Yeah, we will make a big announcement when that is available. Yes. So if I wasn't doing this interview with you, I'd be home working on the formatting. So
yeah. Sorry, we'll be done soon. Let's get her done.
We're good.
Tell me, we've sort of covered some of this, but RightStart Math uses an abacus. I got no other program that uses an abacus. What other things are unique about the RightStart Math program?
Well, the number one thing is the abacus. That provides a hands-on approach. So instead of a 3 just being this symbol, I'll move it over here, having a 3 like this, you can see it's a quantity. That makes a huge difference to a child. The other thing is we've got the games. And we kind of talked about this before. The games are the practice. They're the review. And most importantly, they're a reason. They're an application. It gives the children a reason to want to learn their facts. Fractions are taught using a linear chart. So instead of having fraction circles, we use them in a line. And that just makes it so simple.
Right. Actually, I can show you. Yeah, I've got this here.
Oh, there, you can see a picture of it. So you can see it. So it's very easy to see that a half is 1 broken into 2 equal pieces, and that a fourth is 1 broken into 4 equal pieces. So how many fourths equal a half? Well, you can compare it because you're comparing along a line.
And
another thing, go ahead.
That you've got here.
Yep. Those are the card games that are used in the tutoring. Yep, exactly.
And sometimes this is just a note in terms of application. Some moms and dads will say, can I just get the books? And I've got a lot of manipulatives at home. There's a lot of stuff about the RightStart program that is like proprietary or made specifically for the curriculum. So that's something that to be noted.
Right. Yes, it is very specific. There's some things like centimeter cubes. I don't really care where you get them from. A centimeter, centimeters, a centimeter is a centimeter, and whatever. But things like the card deck, you want them to be a certain quantity, a certain way, so that when we play the games, it works best. The abacus, as we kind of saw, has, there we go like this, we can see better. It's grouped in the 5s and 10s. So that's very specific. And by the way, an abacus by definition is beads on a frame. It doesn't tell you what value, how to use, what color. They vary greatly because you've got the Russian, the Chinese, the Japanese, the Russian, the Slavonic. You've got all these different abacuses. This is our abacus. This is called the Cotter abacus. We used to call it the AL abacus, which stood for Activities for Learning, which is our company name. We've now just changed its name to Cotter abacus.
Okay.
So we use the abacus. Another thing that we do that's different is we have a guided discovery approach. So we don't just say, back to my other example, 8 times 3 is 24 because I said so. We show you why and how it works so that if I forget, 8 times 3. I have no idea. Oh, wait. I can say 8 times 3. That's the same thing as 4 times 3 doubled. Oh, yeah. Okay, now I've got it. So we guide the child to discovering so that if they forget, they can go back to that same path to discover it.
And what we've done and experienced, we can reproduce much more easily than what we've just sort of repeated by rote. Yeah.
The other thing, and I brought this up last night when I was teaching that class on fractions, is if I show you something, so like here, I show you something on the abacus. Okay, thank you. That was really cool. There's another whole thing if you get to touch it.
Yes.
That makes a huge difference. And some of you are, oh, can I touch that?
Yes.
We want to touch. That's part of human nature. I'm a quilt designer. And so like when I come across, I know, really cool. So when I come across like the color blue, first thing I want to do is pet it. I want to pet. Let me see this blue. Well, you can pet blue with your fingertips, but what's the first thing you want to do? You want to touch it. You know, we've all taken our kids shopping. You put them in the grocery cart, and what do? They have like arms that can reach up both sides of the aisle.
Yes. Yes.
And so that's a human nature thing. So like, for example, let's say you're into golfing. You walk into a golf store. What's the first thing you do? Ooh, and you start touching the golf cart, the golf club things. I forgot what they were called. I don't golf, obviously. But that's human nature to touch. So why wouldn't a child want to touch?
Yeah. And because our senses, when we can involve more of our senses, when we can not just put our eyes on a page and our pen to the paper, it engages us in so many more ways to be able to speak, to hear, to watch, to get my hands involved. I'm much more challenged to lose my attentiveness to something if my eyes and my voice and my hands are attached to it than if I have a pen and somebody told me fill out the page. It's very much easier for my eyes to wander. And that's something that like
and your brain
pervasively, like we're telling families, if you have a kid that learns differently or that's struggling with learning, that has attention issues, that has learning challenges in one way or another, like engage all of these modes and all of these senses as much as possible. It makes such a difference. And if you just like activity-based learning, then do it. Or maybe you love activity-based learning, Mom, because that's the way you're wired to use all of those modes and senses.
Yep, exactly. So we want the kids to be able to explore it and touch it. As a side note, so often some do, especially newer homeschoolers, have this idea that we have to sit at a desk and we have to do our pen and paper work. No, get down on the floor, go outside. I have a friend of mine who had a very twitchy child.
Right on a board. Yeah,
right on the board. I mean, lay on the couch, have the kid halfway up the couch and halfway down the couch. Work it to work with the child. I have a friend of mine who has a very twitchy child, and the kid was just twitchy. So what they ended up doing is she would sit on they had stairs with a landing. And so she would sit right below it. So she'd have a place to kind of write. And the kid was going this way. Kid was up the stairs and with his feet up, feet up, head down. And so his body spent time trying not to slide into the work, but yet his brain then could keep occupied with what Mom was showing and teaching. And he's touching things.
Yeah.
So find a way that fits your kid. So drop the idea that we have to be in a little desk with everybody sitting there properly. Yeah.
Find the way that fits your kid.
Right.
That is such a big deal. So these are some of the ways that RightStart is unique. Something else I want to point out, it's important to many moms that you've got Canadian money, you've got metric measurement. Most of our curriculums do have metric measurement. Most of them don't have Canadian money. There's ways to mitigate that, but to have that available for us already integrated in, to know that we don't have to sort of make accommodations or add some pieces to it is such a big deal for moms and dads who are busy, who don't want to have to add those things in. We recognize that most American curriculums will be teaching imperial math, imperial measurement, but also teaching metric measurement because that's relevant for students going into sciences and that we need to be prepared for that in the upper levels. but to give a good balance of them in the younger years is important. And I like that at Right Start.
We actually have the children starting to learn metric and imperial, but learning metric in kindergarten, the very first year, because they're curious about measurements. So we do that. One quick note, I want to reverse just a second regarding the money. In your teacher's manual, it'll show US coins. You guys are bright. You can adapt for that. But the child's worksheets are going to have it in Canadian coins. So if they have a worksheet that shows a number of coins, they'll be Canadian coins.
Right. So that's something important to see. Our teachers' materials show American, but our Canadian, but what our student is seeing is Canadian.
Going to be the Canadian coins, yes.
Pennies, nickels, dimes, and we do have little plastic coins that you will get in your RightStart Math kit if you're doing the full kit, or in the individual little pieces if you're buying little pieces. It's Canadian money, pennies.
And Canadian card. The card decks for the money is Canadian coins. They're not US coins.
Yeah, they're all behind me there. I can't reach it quite yet, but I can show you if I want to. So we've kind of talked about who's the ideal candidate for using your curriculum resources. Any child, especially a child that likes to move, which is pretty much any child. But who would this not be for? Tell me who RightStart Math doesn't work for.
We've never.
That's a loaded question. I didn't tell you I was going to ask you that.
No, that's fine. We hear this a lot. We've never had a child that it does not work for. Sometimes I'll have parents it won't work for.
Yes.
Now, the biggest thing that we hear, and I'm going to explain why this is actually a benefit. People say, oh, it's so teacher intensive. No, it's teacher involved. That's a huge difference. Real quick, think about when you have let's just say you have 4 children and you bring home that 5th baby and you're like, little dude, you're cute, but I need to get some sleep. I'll see you at 8 a.m. That's not how it works. You take that little newborn person, you get up at midnight, you get up at 1, you get up at 3, you get up at 3:30, you change their little pants, you burp them, you feed them, you burp them, you rock them back to sleep. You do that. And then somewhere.
And then all the other people get up at 6:30. Yes.
Right. And everybody else gets up. Yes. But we want that child, somewhere around 3, 6, 12 months, whatever, they're going to sleep through the night because they know that if I have a problem, mom is going to be there if I cry. Same thing with math. You need to put the time in now so that they can build that solid foundation. So if there's a problem, they can figure it out. Because if you just give them worksheets or you pop them in front of a computer screen, that foundation might be built. Most of the time it's not being built. And that's sad. That's not what you want for your child. So
we do have children that can work through a workbook, and that works for some families. What I would always caution is the mom who calls me up and says, I'm working full time. I don't have time to sit with this child. There is there's 5 or 6 or kids that are all needing a math lesson. I can't sit down with each one of them. If you're economizing your time as a mom, and I respect that we do that because I'm a mom of 4 and I remember those days, that's where I would say, I agree with you that it's about what moms need as well as what our kids need, and we got to balance.
Yes, but the other part of it is if you don't have math, you've lost all your sciences. You've lost all that. So you need to teach math and reading. And in my opinion, this is just me as a mom, you also need to teach morals, however you want to define that. But if you've got math and reading and morals, those kids have the world. So let's go back. You've got 5 kids and you've got to teach them all. Is there any way you can lump 2 of them together? So can I put these guys together? And then I got that other one over there in the corner. Or can I do it like this?
Can I do RightStart with 2 kids together then?
Yes, you can. Absolutely.
Okay. Absolutely. What do I need for that second child? Do I need a whole nother set of manipulatives so they each have their little pile of Canadian money?
Nope. What you're going to do is you're going to share the things that each child needs to have is their own abacus. There's some other things that you can share. So depending upon your finances, can they share a clock? Can they share the place value cards? Some of those things can be shared. If it's easier if your finances can handle it, get everybody their own, but so much of it can be shared. There's just a few things that you can't be shared.
And I need my worksheets for each student.
Yes, you need a worksheet for each child. Thank you. Yes. Okay. Yes. Okay. So what you could do is you could lump them together. The other thing you could do is you teach child number 1. Okay. And then you have to play a card game with them, or have dad play the card game when he gets home, or can he play against, right hand versus left hand, or can he play against the dog or whatever, but you got to play some of the card games because they're going to be in most of the lessons, not all, but most. Child number 2. So you teach child number 2. When child number 2 needs to play a card game, get child number 1 involved. Child number 3, you've got child 1 and 2 who can play the card game with number 3. Right. Child number 4 really likes child number 1. Can child number 1 teach child number 4? Because maybe child number 1 is, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14-year-old. Can they actually teach that younger one? Maybe, maybe not.
Right.
Find a way to adapt it to make it fit your family. Yeah. Most of the time, the teaching portion, now I'm not including the games, I'm not including the worksheets, the teaching portion is about 20 to 30 minutes. That's all you're giving each child for their math is 20 to 30 minutes. Now, again, some days are going to be 10 minutes, some days are going to be 40 minutes, but on an average, you're looking about 20 to 30 minutes of teaching time. And then again, if you got a pile of kids, that's perfect. The only one then you have to play a card game with is the oldest, because when the little ones are playing, an older one's playing with them, the older one's reinforcing the little one's learning, you're teaching somebody else. So it absolutely can be done.
Right.
It just comes down to what fits for your family.
That's it.
And I can't make that decision, obviously.
That's right. That's right. So it is doable.
Absolutely.
No mom that as a busy mom with many kids, or with a busy mom who's working other jobs, which many of our homeschooling moms are doing these days, that you count the cost. And if you choose that RightStart is the right for your family, there are ways to manage the busyness of it all, helping our kids to interact together at different levels, or helping them to interact with the materials together on the same level. But there's some good ideas there. Okay.
I'm going to interrupt one quick second. There's something we have called overview videos. It's on our website, rightstartmath.com, under teaching resources, or teaching resources, one of the two. And in there is overview videos. Now, they are not for the child. They are for you. It's kind of like a big sister comes in and says, okay, Corey, here's the deal. Lesson 47, blah, blah, blah. And they're grouped in groupings of 4. So in theory, it's going to be your 1 week's lesson. You're going to watch a video. It's just going to kind of say, okay, when it says appendix page, that's in the back of the book, or make sure you photocopy that. So again, they're just little things that are in the book, but it kind of highlights and helps you with them.
I've forgotten about those. Yeah.
Yep. You don't need them, but sometimes they're really nice, especially if you're feeling a little bit uncomfortable with something. But there's a lot of little tidbits and tricks in there.
There's some, I'll make sure that link is up on our site as well, so that parents can go to that. I have looked at that before. There's a ton of stuff there that's valuable.
Yes.
Really good. We've chatted about so many things here. I don't want to keep you too long, but would you tell me what does a typical school day look like if I am a RightStart mom with my little people?
Okay, let's just take one child, and then we're not assuming, we're just going to focus on one at this point. Yeah. So you're going to open the book. I'm at lesson whatever. I start out with a warm up. Now you can do the warm up.
I'm going to pull out one. Shall I pull out level A?
Pardon me. Yes, good. You can use level A. Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to bring a couple things over here. You didn't ask me for this, but I'm just pulling out these cutesy little.
Yep, there's the money. Yep, the money card decks. Yep.
Money, and they're fun. Cute.
Yep.
All right, and let me pull out my books here.
Yep. And just open to a random page.
Okay. Let's do it.
And in here, you're going to start out with the warm up.
I'm looking at my lesson book, correct?
Yep. You're looking. Yep. Look at the lesson book. Yep. That's going to be the child's. We're going to let. Yep. That's the lesson book. There you go. So just open to a random page.
Okay. And everything we have at the store is Canadian edition.
Yep. top of the page there, if you scooch over to the very beginning, there we go. The very top, the materials is going to tell you the objectives will tell you what you're trying to do for the day. So if it says to introduce, your kids don't have mastery. We just introduced it. If it says to review, they should be getting this. So kind of watch the verbs that are chosen there. Then to the right is going to be your materials that you need. I only need to gather, it looks like 3 things for the day. Yeah. That's it. So ignore all the rest of the stuff. Yep. We need the abacus, we need the dry erase board, and we need dot cards. Dot cards we've used before, and I can tell that just because there's no comment about appendix page. So that would have been in the back of the book somewhere. Again, we've already used those. But if you notice right under activities for teaching, you're going to look for the dot cards. It's probably, very back. Keep going. So you have to go back. Yep. There was tally stick cards.
Yeah.
I saw those. So they're going to look like this, but they're going to have dots on them.
Okay.
So we're just recognizing the quantities, I think. Yep.
Okay.
So then it's got the teaching, the activities for teaching. First thing you have is the warm-up.
Okay.
That a lot of times I did with my kids in the as we were having breakfast.
Right.
So if you notice, I can't read it from here, but it might say something like
yellow is the sun. We're sing the song, Yellow is the Sun.
Yep. And then the kids are chiming in. I'm not going to sing it, but yeah, yellow is the sun. Let me show you one. Why is the sky so blue? I think, let me show you two. Yeah. And so we're going to sing this song, getting used to what are the numbers, holding my hands up.
Yeah.
But then it might ask a question, ask a further question. Ask a question further in there.
Okay. So play that comes after the game. Play that comes after game with Sunday through Friday.
Okay. Now, does it give you examples? Like what comes after? Go ahead.
No, then it says enter 2 on the abacus and ask the child.
Okay. So if the comes after game. So what comes after Sunday? No, we know this answer. So the answer is going to be Monday. What comes after Thursday?
Okay. Friday.
So again, they're just they're little warm-up things. I tended to do it during breakfast because that's when, we're just kind of starting to think. A lot of people, myself included, do math first.
Right.
Because if it's a thing that you love the most, well, then awesome. Most people don't say that. They like, we have to do math. Okay. Then do it first and get going with it.
Get her done. Yeah.
So to me, breakfast is a perfect time. Sometimes as you get a little bit older, the question might be something like, what's 2 plus 3? And the kid's going to be 5. Okay. And the answer is in the book. So if you're having a difficult day with what 2 plus 3 is, we're going to give you the answer. So if your kid yells out 6, answer says 5.
Okay.
Then we've got the activities of teaching. It looks like, what does that say? 10? What does that say? That first headline or right there.
0.
Yeah. What does it say?
I have to pull this up a little bit more.
Yeah, there we go. Oh, it's 0. Oh, we're looking at the numbers of 0 and 1, I think. So what is 0? 0 really floors some kids. How can 0 be nothing? Well, we're adding nothing on the abacus. There's 0.
Mm-hmm.
And it sounds silly, but that's one thing I love about RightStart. With Dr. Cotter's background, especially in Montessori, she knows how the kids are thinking. We adults sometimes like, well, of course 0 is nothing. What else? Moving on to a child is like, whoa, what do you mean nothing?
Right.
How can you have nothing?
And you've got this explanation. 0 is a difficult concept. So she's given us some explanation in addition to these activities.
Yep. So the activities will tell you what to do. If you're asking a question, it'll say ask or say, it'll tell you what to do. And then on the side, as you pointed out, the explanations tells you why you're doing what you're doing. What's the research behind it? What if your kid's gifted? What if your kid's struggling? Okay. We'll answer those. You don't have to read the explanation stuff, but there's really cool stuff in there. Then it looks like we're writing the number 0. Let's go look at the next.
Yeah.
Yep. Flip over to the next page. And here's the dot cards. You can see an example of them. So we're doing 4. Right. So we have the 4 on the dot card. We're putting 4 on the abacus.
Okay.
And then at the very bottom, we have the in conclusion. It says, ask the child. I can almost read it. What does it say?
Ask the child to draw a 0 on a flat surface and to enter 0 on the abacus. Nothing to enter.
Right.
So that's
the end of the day. Yep.
There you go. So not complicated.
That's not going to take an hour, depending upon how much the kid's paying attention, the interruptions and stuff. I'm thinking this lesson's going to maybe take you
15, 20 minutes.
Yeah, 15, 20.
Yeah. And we know that a lot of our little people don't have 15 or 20 minutes in them. Like they need, like you said, a few minutes at breakfast, a few minutes here and there, and they get through it. And you've got 132 lessons here, which means that it's going to last a school year, but we don't have to finish one lesson every single day.
Right. And that's actually a good point. Go back, Corey, and just open to a day. Just pick one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. Let's just say we're looking at this one. Looks like lesson 22, if I can read it right.
The same one.
Actually, the same one, 0. So let's just say that the child does it on the abacus, does it on the worksheet, top of the next page. We have left the building. That kid is done. Quit. Quit. Pick it up later. Pick it up after their nap, after they've had a treat, after you've worked with another kid, after you walk the dog.
Yeah.
And if you have a child who can only do half a lesson, maybe because they're young or because they've got, ADD or ADHD or, whatever it is, that's fine. You still did math. This book, like you said, has 132 lessons. All the others are 140 lessons. There's usually 180-ish days in a school year.
Absolutely.
So you're already short 40 days, which is really 2 months. So if you're doing
this for all of those field trips and the days that the baby didn't sleep and somebody was sick and we had to go to the dentist, didn't think about that when we were scheduling. That's homeschool life.
Totally works. And there's nothing that says that you have to start it on September 1 and you have to finish it by the end of May. You can school year round. If you school from beginning of September to end of May and you do 4 lessons a week, taking time off for the holidays and all that kind of stuff, then you will be able to get this book done in that time frame.
Right.
If you do 3 days a week or 3 lessons in a week, if your child is kind of chopping them up a little bit and you school year round, you're still going to be ahead of the curve.
Right.
So you make it fit your child, your life, your plans, and work with it.
Right. Right. And curriculum is always a tool that we use to meet the needs of our kids rather than a master that tells us how we live our life.
Exactly.
Right? And every child that's homeschooled has their own individual education plan. Their moms and dads know them best and are able to make those modifications to any curriculum or resource to make sure that they fit. We always want to encourage moms and dads to do that.
And if you need help, I'm feeling behind, or my kid isn't doing this, I want you to call us. I want you to call us and talk and say, okay, I don't remember her name, but she was Dr. Cotter. Oh, that was Kathleen.
Oh, yeah.
You can ask for me, or you can ask for our customer service team. And they're all people who have homeschooled, who are using the program, and they know things. And maybe you don't like the answer that you get from this person. Ask for me. And let's work this out. Let's find out what we need to do. And I have people who will call me and we work through it. And we kind of get to be friends. It's kind of fun. So call us. We are here. I want to be part of the team to help you and your child excel in math. So
we love that.
I can't help you.
Yeah, we love that. We work so much, and our customers know, our families that we care for know that we do a lot of one-to-one consultations, that our customer service team does a lot of troubleshooting, making sure you have the right pieces, giving you their experience as homeschooling moms and homeschooling graduates, and helping out as much as possible. They will pass you on to me if I don't have the expertise, but I certainly don't have the expertise in RightStart that you have. So it's just great to be a part of that team that can resource our families that way. Really, really appreciate that. Can you tell me, before I let you go, we've kind of gotten to some nuts and bolts, what is the RightStart tutoring program useful for?
Oh,
if I'm not going to, where does that fit into this whole use of, is this something I use to supplement my grade kits with RightStart, or something that I use in another way? Tell me about
very good question. We've got the RightStart Math curriculum. That's going to take you from kindergarten all the way up to grade 7 or 8, depending upon when you're starting your algebra. What happened is we have people who, my kid just doesn't get the multiplication, and I don't really want to put him back in grade 3. I mean, how am I going to do this? What am I going to do? So what we did, because we knew there was a need, we started the tutoring program. Number sense, I don't know if you've got that one there to show them.
I don't. It was when I was scurrying around downstairs, so I'm not sure that
Okay.
I have.
Okay.
I don't know that we have it in stock, but
okay, that's fine. That's fine. But the number sense, the RightStart tutoring number sense is addition, subtraction. It's 50 lessons, no worksheets. I know your kids are going to be devastated. It's no worksheets, and they're going to play games every day.
That's rough. They're going to be so sad.
What's that?
I said, that's rough. They're going to be so sad.
I know, they're going to be so sad. Yeah. Now, if we assume that the child going through the tutoring program is at least 2 years or older, and they're 2 years behind, I should say. They're 2 years past where that was learning it. Right. Okay. So they're 2 years, let's say it this way. The kids are 2 years behind where they should be.
Okay.
So if I've got a grade 4, they should be doing addition, subtraction, but they're not. 7 plus 3, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. That kid needs, we can't put him back into grade 1. Yeah. Right. We don't have time for that.
Exactly.
So RightStart tutoring number sense assumes the child's 2 years older or more. And so we're going to take them with their older legs instead of their little bitty kindergarten or first grade legs. I'm going to take them and we're going to assume that they're older, and we're going to work with them. And they're going to, by the time they're done with the number sense, they're adding and subtracting 4-digit numbers with caring. 50 lessons, no worksheets. Okay. It's awesome.
So number sense, add and subtract.
Yep, is addition, subtraction. And then we have RightStart tutoring multiplication and division. Book 1 is 1 times 1 to 10 times 10. And division from 100 down, including remainders. Okay. Again, we're using the abacus. We're playing games. No worksheets. Oh my goodness. But again, the practice comes from the games. Okay. Then multiplication division book 2 does multi-digit multiplication, short division, which is very cool, but that's another conversation. Short division and long division. Then you've got RightStart tutoring fractions. Yeah. Teaching it in 42 and a half days. That one does have some worksheets in it. Yep, that one has worksheets, but they're not worksheets in the drill sense. They're worksheets more from the exploration sense. So it's a different perspective. Then you've got RightStart tutoring clocks, teaches clocks. I know, very clever. And RightStart tutoring money, which, surprise, teaches money.
Right. And has our Canadian money.
Yes. Yep.
Okay. Very good. So super duper. So meant to be supplemental for the student who has used RightStart or something else, but needs to.
If you've been using RightStart
skills.
Right. If you've been using RightStart, you should not need any of these.
Right.
Because you should have that. Now, maybe there's a child who's had some something medical and they've lost some pieces, then absolutely yes. But the RightStart kids, if you're doing RightStart, you should not be needing this. So these are kids usually coming from another program. Okay. So whether they're in a school system and, mom, dad, grandma, grandpa wants to help the kid, here we go.
So because it would be repetitive for that student who has gone through the RightStart program. You can look back at lessons in your books that you have in your level books.
And the ones who are in the RightStart program have the math card games book. A lot of these, the RightStart tutoring is coming from the RightStart Math curriculum, and the games, of course, are coming from the math card games book.
Right. Although show that games kit here too, because like you said, these are part of this RightStart games kit, and they've got all these cards, the abacus, and the book. And I'm going to try not to make too much of a mess here, but there's all of these bits and pieces in here of games. There's a book, the abacus, various bits and pieces.
Yep, there's a fraction chart in there also. It's probably underneath. Yep, I can see it there. There's a yellow one. Yep, there you go.
So we've got all of those bits and pieces. So that's the games that you would use if you were using that to supplement then another course.
Right. Whether, again, you've got a child or a grandchild who's in the school system, or you're committed to another program for whatever reason. Okay. This way you can get some of these ideas and the games into your current program.
Excellent.
I like to think of games are like hugs. You can't over hug your child. Well, I guess technically, probably, but that just gets weird. But you can't over hug your child. You can't overplay the games.
Neat. And our kids need that hands-on concrete before they can move into something abstract. Always what we say with our math. Maybe there's different modes to do that, but the more we can get that hands-on and concrete, the better, because we need that before we can move into something abstract. So before I let you go, thank you for taking the time, Kathleen. It's always fun to talk to you and to sort of geek out on these math ideas with you. I really appreciate it. But it reaches our moms and dads who maybe don't want to be as geeky about math as you and I.
Right.
And I do appreciate that. Is there any big picture ideas or tips that you would like to share with moms and dads to help them to see their kids thrive in their math learning?
To me, the biggest thing is show them the joy of math. And some of you are like, she just put joy and math together in the same sentence.
Right? That doesn't work.
Yeah,
Oil and water.
It does. And even if you don't like it, don't taint your children.
Yes.
They've actually done a study.
Fake it till you make it.
Yes. They've actually done a study that they've actually done a study that if children, if usually moms, if a mother tells her daughter that the mother's not good in math or doesn't like it, the daughter immediately mimics. Now, boys, not quite as much. They maybe because they more identify with dad. But if a mom tells the child that they don't like math or they're not good in math, that daughter will follow right along.
Absolutely.
So if you need to have a discussion, a negative discussion about math, go do it with your husband. Go do it with somebody else. Right. Don't share with the kids. Come into math with, we're going to do math today.
Yes.
It's going to make a difference in the attitude. It's going to make a difference in the approach. Work with it that way. Again, think of it as fun. And it really is. And you'll notice it with the program, how many cool things are in math. Yeah. And some of the things that we teach in math are just cool. We teach just because they're fun. No particular reason. They're just exciting.
Yeah. And that's what we want. Those patterns, both in the things that we've created, but the things in nature too, just to see how there is order. And that's so fascinating. There's so many neat things that we can find to see that joy and that wonder and awe of discovery in our math learning.
And math is everywhere. Oh, one other tidbit I want to tell you real quick. So many people think that arithmetic, your addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, that arithmetic is all there is to math.
Right.
It's not. There's 200 branches of mathematics. Arithmetic is one. You can be bad in arithmetic and really good in math. And for example, I'm actually not that good in arithmetic, probably because of the way I was taught. Because remember, I was very traditionally taught. So I'm not that good in arithmetic, but I'm really good in math. Like I'm really, really good in math. I mean, statistics, it's like candy. Algebra, I love algebra. There's fractals. There's actually a branch in math called recreational math. And that's a real branch of math. So there's all these different kinds, and make sure your kids know that, okay, I may not be good in arithmetic, but I can be really good in geometry, or I can be good in statistics, or I can be good in trigonometry. Make sure your kids know that just because you're not good in one does not mean you're not good in all, just means you're not good in one.
Yeah. And math is so integrated into all of life. So yes, math is so much more than arithmetic. The geometry, the spatial sense, the everyday applications of math. There's so much that we need our kids to do to be functional. It's not just, can you be faster at adding?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Very good.
So, all right. Well, thank you.
Yeah, always lovely to chat with you. Thank you for joining me again today, and for making these materials available, making sure that they're consistently put together, ready for our Canadian audience, that you guys are available to answer questions so easily. Thank you for doing that. And thanks for
absolutely. Thank you. All right. Take care.
All right. You too.